are in the VIP area by the Hoonigan Burnyard at SEMA 2022. This year, the guys have done this Burnyard bigger and better than ever. They have a huge lineup of cars out the back with heaps of variety. And there's one thing I know, and that is these guys know how to put on a show and hype up the crowd.
Can we get a hip hip? Can I get a hip hip? I said, can I get a hip hip? That's right, we are daddy.
We also know, as a special treat, there is at least one Australian here who's going to be out on the Burnyard to put on a show, and we're going to go for a ride with him. Let's go. definition of skill?
Forrest Wang is Forrest Wang. It's as simple as that.
Hang out with your wang out.
Yeah, man. It's a big old wang.
Take a break. Turns on. It didn't blow up. It shot flames. All great RB things.
I was very, very happy.
Am I worthy of the Australian approval, though? That's what the matters.
You now officially have Australian approval. You've got visa status first. The next skid will get you citizenship.
Oh,
so,
wow,
yeah,
Do I get an Aussie name?
That's how you become an Australian. You're Gazza now. Your Aussie name is Gazza.
Well, you know what, Andrew? He's been getting called Gazza for years.
Yeah, so you've already got an Aussie name.
Wow, do I have the wrong shirt on? Hold on. Let me put the...
Oh, yeah. There we go. Now you got the right shirt.
The Aussie seal of approval.
Here we go.
I feel more Australian already. I'm ready for Guinness and Hungry Jacks.
Well, thank you for coming out. We got all the boys from Australia here, sir.
What do you think, fourth gear, fifth gear?
Fourth.
Let's go 6 gear.
What do you guys want? 4 gear?
We're starting fourth.
Let's go 6.
You know 6.
It's like the world championships of burnouts because you guys can't party anywhere else than competition. So, you're going to show us how it's done.
Hell yeah, they're going to do it.
I said you got that! That's right!
Hold on.
issue is between you and I.
The carbon fibre body kit on this
Kevlar
thing.
body.
Yeah, I'm like, don't blow a tyre, bro. Don't do it.
I was actually going to see if I could get your credit card out of your pocket real quick when it was really smoky.
Hey, Hert, you like that or what?
Man, you Aussies are ridiculous people. You're ridiculous people.
I said-
When he said, you want to see 6 here? I walked away. I'm tired of your
I told him, make sure when you go out, make it so no one after you wants to go.
Exactly. That's why, I don't know if you saw this. I walked up to it and I said, I'm going in front of you.
All right, we're here with Josh Robinson, a friend of mine. He was an Australian, but now I think you're like a hardcore Texan. Do a bigger American now, right?
Just gun-toting, truck driving, yeehaw and southerner.
Now I've got to ask you this before we talk about what was probably the best burnout of the week here and why. How did this happen? How did you end up now based in Texas at a racetrack? You got a shop, you got a Formula D program. How did an Australian drifter kind of skip Aussie drifting and sort of end up here?
Man, with many sleepless nights, I can assure you. It's funny because my background's obviously in circuit racing and rally, and then I was working in China at the time, and I had the opportunity to go to a BC circuit in Japan and try out drifting there, and I got taught by Naoto Suinaga from Team Orange, and I just fell in love with it. Like every stupid person before me that decided to drive a car sideways, I found out it was probably the most fun you could have in a car. And obviously competed in Asia and then in Australia and got my license for the US and came over here when I had the opportunity to drive in Formula Drift.
Now, obviously, you had a Commodore Ute for a little while there, but why the switch to a BMW? Just better chassis, better setup, more competitive? What was it?
The big issue you had with the Ute is after we built it and sent it to the US, Formula Drift actually changed the rules for the championship while the Ute was on the water on the way here. And so the original plan was to run it on a 335 wide tyre, and that was the first year that in then Pro 2, they introduced the rules where we had to run no larger than a 255 rear tyre. So going from like a 335 to a 255, it's obviously a big chassis as well, that like is pushing 18 foot long, so it's not in your favour in terms of the size or the weight or anything really. But we could get away with it with our engineering and by running that larger tyre. So when the series changed the rules on us, there was nothing we could do about it. And to be fair, it made a lot of sense for the championship as well, because guys with lightweight cars like an S chassis would just throw an LS in there, some 335s, and just be like a 7-second quarter-mile car. So they really had to do it to reel back the championship a bit. So it totally made sense to me. It just sucks that we got caught holding the baby when it happened. And so to your point, a couple of years later, we then built the BMW and I campaigned that instead.
Now that's obviously got what? That's got a V8 in it. I saw a heap of nitrous. Tell us more about that combination.
Yeah, so it runs a Texas speed motor. It's a 7.2 litre, runs out to 8,500 RPM. We can run up to 250 shot of nitrous on it.
I can attest that it's a pretty killer setup. Let's talk about that burnout. Like, what were you thinking inviting me into the car going, you know what, I'm Australian, they're expecting Australian burnout. Let's just bring another Australian in with me to G me up, right?
I mean, you're in Vegas, right? You just double down. So yeah, what could go wrong? Just throw two Aussies in a European car with an American engine.
I did enjoy that part. I saw when Zach saw us both get out, he's like, uh-oh, there's two Aussies here. We know what's going to happen. You've looked at me and gone, what gear should we be in? And it's like, fourth is minimum gear for an Australian burnout, right?
That's 1-to-1. It'd be rude not to.
What's it like performing in front of a crowd like this, man? Even I, after everything I've been in drift car and burnout wise, I was still like a bit, oh, this is mad. Like, this crowd is pumped, right?
It's a good time for sure. The Americans get very passionate about sporting events, music festivals, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, definitely backing up against the wall over there and hitting the red room fourth gets them pretty G'd.
All I'm going to ask is this. Is anyone going to come close to that skid? Because even our cameraman Hinchy, who is a burnout guy, he's like, that's the most amount of smoke by far.
I don't know if they do. We'll just have to go again to one-up them.
I'm going to keep an eye on things here. If anyone even comes close, I'm coming back.
Let's do it. I look forward to it.
Sweet, man. Thanks.